Yeah. All right. Welcome to our House Fortune roll session. This is a bit of the game for our Song of Ice and Fire RPG. That is a bit meta than the other stuff. Um, this is about stewardship of the actual house itself and what the head of the house decides to do as the kind of the action for the month. So we'll go through a bit of that. And as the de facto head of the house, Charlie is with me. Hello.
Whee! Hello. I'm very excited. I love that this game has mechanics in it that help you continue to world build and continue to progress beyond the limited scope of being like one character. You've got this whole house, this whole area that the fortune is going to be changing as a result of your intrigue, but also just as a result of the nature of a group of people living on a piece of land which faces weather and revolt and disease. And we're in this period, obviously, after the rebellion where we're trying to stabilize, where we're trying to still bounce back from everything we've lost, still dealing with a lot of the loss in terms of like the hunt to get Miria back is a major thing that's going on. And we've just had Lucas die, and the whole area has just been informed their lord is dead by Marcia. The last scene of the last episode. Go and catch up. That's all on YouTube. But do that after you watch this, because this should be fun.
Yeah.
Don't leave us now. Come back.
No, stay. It's all right. So let's go over how this works, just to remind myself a little bit, as well as going over it for you the first time. So houses in action is what we're looking at. I'm looking at in the rulebook. So a created house is not frozen in time. Rather, the process of house creation is a moment in its life defining as it stands at the beginning of your campaign. As you undertake adventures, navigate the perils of intrigue, fight battles, wage wars, and more, your house will blossom and grow or wither and die. Your actions and choices determine the fate of your house. If you exploit its resources, rigging your household holdings for every resource to increase your wealth and power, your lands will suffer and eventually die. On the other hand, if you have care and cultivate your holdings, you can grow them through alliances, battles that you win, and the acclaim your family wins. However, your house is a vehicle for creating adventures, a place to call home, and the inspiration that drives you to reach for greatness. But it should not define the play experience. Song of Ice and Fire is a game about characters and not governance and shrewd accounting of one's resources. Thus, most of the house rules that follow are necessary abstractions designed to reflect change and to create consequences and rewards for your actions. So, this kind of level of the game is measured in months. And essentially you can do an action each month. And they're kind of medieval months, so we've got these 4-week long months. You've got a house fortune roll and a house action. So a house fortune is an event that affects your lands, either improving or diminishing one of your resources, revealing a complication or disaster, or awarding a greater turn of events, or even a boon. A house must roll for a house fortune at least once every 3 months, but no more than one every month, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You must decide at the start of each month whether you want to do this. If you choose not to roll for a house fortune, and we'll make this a really, really short session,
Yeah.
then you can increase any resource by 1. Otherwise, the steward or acting steward must roll a status test. Bonus dice from stewardship apply, plus modifiers from any holdings. And you compare the result to the house fortune table at the bottom of the page.
Well, we do know that in 3 months there's a big event that will determine a lot about house fortune. So really, no better time than now to do a different one.
Yeah. True.
And it falls on me again. So
I thought it would be cool to get you on just as your Todd, because Marzia's kind of got a little bit of that isolation.
yeah, she is kind of on her own right now. I mean, Alfred is there and helping out, and I think we're starting to see Alfred kind of grow into his position in the household, but it's still not really clear what his position entails fully at this point. He's been Marcia's bestest buddy, but we know Oliver is out there somewhere, and obviously the rest of the family are busy working away. I think Marcia's closest companion is probably Lana at this point.
Sure.
In a way.
Well, this next session coming up on Thursday is called Champion Returns. So it's not going to be long before you have Sir Oliver as well to help you out.
Yeah. Get a buddy back.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Maybe. I don't know. That's the other thing is Marcia doesn't know half of what's gone on and it's killing me inside.
Yeah.
So we need to make that status test.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. So this is a status with stewardship bonus dice test. And then we just compare it to the chart that we've got. But let's just log on to the Roll20.
My Roll20 has signed me out and won't let me sign in. I was just on this thing.
You've failed your house fortune roll already.
No. I'm going.
No. This is a little behind the scenes preview for everybody of this map that we use every week. This is like the only map we have as well. I haven't got lots of like little.
Yeah, that's a great map.
I didn't have like a tournament map or anything like. But this just helps folks figure out where things are, which is always helpful. So you see just below me, there's Old Oak. Where is it? Just there, and that's where Mara's been. The High Garden is literally on there's like a road that runs almost the coast towards High Garden, and then from there you can go up to King's Landing or down towards Old Town. But to get through from Old Oak to Fox Hollow, you've got to go through High Garden. The Blackmonts are just south of Fox Hollow, but that's actually quite a distance. Like that's probably I don't know, at least a kind of few score miles. Like it's not just like round the corner. Old Town's where Simon was at the Citadel, and that distance, or roughly the distance, well, on my maps, the distance between the one end of the wall and the other is like 300 miles. I think he said 100 leagues. So if we apply that, it's about 100 leagues from High Garden to Old Town. That's like 100 walking hours. So whoever's good at maths.
Well, if you walk 8 hours a day, that's 10, 12, like 14 days. It's like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's at least kind of 2 weeks, really, to get around. Horseback helps, obviously. But like Old Oak to Fox Hollow will be like a couple of weeks. So all of us decided to go on a boat, though, which is a lot quicker. So
going upriver.
He does eventually have to go upriver, up the Torrentine, which is that little bit. So the mouth of that is underneath the Blackmonts place, which is right down there. And actually, a bit bigger bit on my map. Yeah, it's like Starfall, which is I think where the Danes are. There's another castle in between that, but yeah. So he has to head up that river and head up towards Fox Hollow. And then thinking of sort of Ironwood is like off to the east, in that direction, almost like perpendicular to those two houses. Summerhall is right up near Storm's End and under King's Landing. That's where Miria's been. Is stuck. And that is quite a distance away. So like a good month's journey, pretty much. So yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
All right, you good?
Yeah, so packed into my own Roll20. I'm good to go again.
Awesome. Let me clear this because there's all this junk from last time. There we go. Right. Hopefully
Just don't get rid of that 23, okay? That was a powerful roll.
That was a good roll.
That's a good roll.
All right. Hopefully you can still see the result on my crop. All right, Charlie. Right. If this is terrible, I am gonna let your lucky fly.
So this is stewardship. I'm not adding in the modifiers yet. We'll do that afterwards, correct?
Yeah, because we'll look through the modifiers. Do you want to know about them now? Because we have a funky one going on.
Yeah, let's have a look at them quick.
Just
draw this out before I hit the button.
Yeah, sure. Bit of tension. So because you've got a few of your holdings give you a little bit of a positive modifier to your house fortune rolls. Your law reduces it by -2, but I think your holdings altogether will give it a +3. So overall, it's a 1 +1 to it. But the Godswood gives you plus 2d6 minus 6. So it could be good or it could be a negative modifier.
Alright, so let's roll that one first, and we'll see
Yeah,
what
okay.
our overall modifier will be.
Alright, so roll 2d6 minus 6 for me.
Alright. Helps if you don't try and do it on Twitch.
Yeah, don't do that.
Right. 6 minus 6. 1.
Okay. So you will get a plus
I rolled
1.
a 3 and a 4, which is a 7 total.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, that means you're going to get a plus 1. So overall, plus 2 to your status test.
Here we go.
All right.
14. So that's
Okay.
a 16.
16 means a curse. Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, so let's have a look at this. So the narrator determines the specific outcomes of these fortunes, which will manifest themselves sometime during the 4 weeks of the upcoming month. For details on these results, check the narrator's chapter.
I'm kind of excited. Curse is kind of a cool option to have come up.
Yeah. Let's find the right bit.
But I'm also kind of like, I'm sorry, house.
Haha. I don't need disease, not yet. Here we go. Alright, curse. An unfortunate downturn in events that could weaken the house in some way. Curses are significant setbacks, and they can include brigands, bad weather, blights, desertion, lawlessness, and other effects. A curse reduces one resource by 1 to 3 points, or 2 resources by a point each. Alrighty. So let's add that into our little table here. So this curse. I am going to reduce law by 1. And
Population would kind of make sense with what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, population by 1.
Which is not good.
No. So that will manifest in the next few weeks in terms of the story as well. So I'll write with the curse in mind. And now it's your turn to check up on what action you want to do.
Okay.
So we did have that in the wants and actions bit here. So once per turn, you can take a single action. Possible actions listed here describe the most basic actions. You can expand on this as desired to provide even more detail to your house and lands. So you can manage resources as an action. And with that, you basically convert some of your resources from one of your resources into another. If you then do a second conversion, so it's not that you're trying to reduce 2 into the 1. It's like, yeah, but so if you do a second conversion, then the ratio is a lot worse. So it's basically rushed.
Yeah.
As you see there. You can begin a project. So if you've got the resources available for something, and you want to start building something, you want to invest in a holding, then we can do that. But it takes a certain number of weeks to do. And that can take years as well. If you want to build like a castle or something, that can take a while. You can wage wars. If you wanted to send your army out to do stuff. You can host a tournament as well. Tournaments cost some wealth to put on. But there's that stuff you can do as well. There are a couple from the PDF out of Strife Prosperity, which we use, which you've got access to, which is a great hunt. There are others, but we don't have any holdings for that give you more actions yet. So, yeah. What are
So
you thinking roughly?
I think Matsuya's priorities would lie in increasing power or defense. She knows there are these vultures out there, that her house is in a vulnerable position, um, between two houses that may or may not be amenable, being the Ironwoods and the Blackmonts. She's not quite sure. We're right on that Dornish border as well.
Yeah.
So I think the Brigands worried her enough. The Raiders, I'm sorry, that's what they were. Sure, Raiders. I believe that. So yeah, I think that's where Marcy is gonna kind of put her stand, and she's kind of campaigning in a way on, I don't put up with this. This is not acceptable on Greenmont land. She hung a man, hung.
Yeah, hanged a man.
Either way,
I think.
She had a man attached with a noose around his neck to a tree and dropped. So I think definitely she wants to be looking at kind of shoring that up. Not she definitely doesn't want to look aggressive, but just we've got to be sensible. We're not in the heart of the Reach. We're right on this border, and we haven't got a lot of friends. But we do have a forge which makes good swords, and we do have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So I think restoring the devoted would almost be a priority for her. Or building something defensive, but that would obviously take time.
Yeah, building something is going to take time. One thing you could do is invest in power, which you could buy more units with. And depending on how you did that, what resources you took away from, say, influence or population or wealth, in essence, buying your kind of mercenaries.
I think given Marcia's just the last scene she did, I would almost like to use influence, have the idea of it like being spread that Marcia is like taking a strong stand, and this is what she's asking for, and like that influence is calling people to join up and become her fighting force.
Sure. All right. Let me triple check the.
I'm gonna go look at chat and see if my house is screaming at me.
No, they're all good.
Okay.
So if you want to wealth into law, lands into defense. Okay, cool. So you could take influence and put that into law. If you wanted to up power, then you'd have to use population, or you could use wealth for anything.
Then I'll use wealth. Our population is struggling right now.
Yeah.
And you need people on the land to do the rest of the stuff. So
yeah,
she'll use some money rather than kind of do one to the one and then one to the other kind of thing.
Let me check what we're up to in terms of the actual holdings you've got in power at the moment. So the Yeomen of the Mountain, these trained archers the house has, we've got a 6 there, that's their cost. The Couriers, the Scouts, they're 5, so that's 11 so far. The Greenmont Devoted, these guerrilla fighters that you've got, are a 5. So we're looking at already a 10, 16. So it was a 19 with the Green Guard. So you have... or you had 1 spare point left over. So just thinking about what you could buy, maybe we just have a look and see how much you want to convert to get you a new unit.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
As such, so
because I guess the other alternative would be training up a current unit, right? Just spending more points on a current unit.
Yeah, that could work. So we could buy up some training in them.
Always throw money at the problem. Hideous. I learnt that from the internet.
So here we go. So the base power cost for anything. So green units just a 1. Trained is 3. Um, and then depends what you want to. If you wanted something new, it depends what you want to buy, really. So anything from cavalry's 5 to some more garrison is +2.
So I'm thinking, in a way, it'd be good to have another unit of scouts because we have a lot of patrolling to basically do. And our scouts are pretty good. The devoted is something like the Marcia holds near and dear. She really likes the idea of them, and they're so core to Greenmont that I don't think we can really improve them as much as maybe just buy another unit to build up the guerrilla fighters. Sure. They're kind of useful all over in the terrain that we're in.
Yeah. Well, let's also consider though the stuff you don't have, like just Crusaders. Infantry.
Yeah.
Are just essentially just kind of walking knights, foot knights. Then personal guard as well.
Yeah, the house guard are really nice.
I mean, for a green personal guard, that is going to cost you 7.
But they have a really good discipline score, from what I remember, which is fairly useful.
Yeah, they've got an incredible discipline score because the discipline modifier is so good. The one thing you also want to watch out for when you're looking at this is bear in mind the holdings you have in wealth. Because we're at an iron mine for 20, 28, 33 at the moment. So we've essentially got one wealth spare. If you go under 34, then you have to lose one of your holdings. Yeah.
What do we have our population allocated for at the moment?
So population is 19, and that means you're at the house modifier. House fortune modifier for that is going to be 0.
So it'd just probably drop our modifier.
It would, yeah. And essentially, you're just press ganging people into service. At that point, let's just scroll up. Bear with me, folks. So you could drop it down to an 11, and you still have a 0 modifier. So that gives you 9 points to play with. So if you can imagine, yeah. So you can imagine this shuffling round. Is basically the more trained soldiers or scouts or whatever go into the personal guard, and then those ranks get filled back in from the population. Could be the way to it. You could also spend a wealth point to buy, buy a couple of soldiers essentially. However, if you're using a second resource, that second resource is going to cost you more, isn't it? Like 2 to 1.
And we don't have 2 wealth. So
no,
I think we'll spend the population. I think that works narratively in the same way that the influence idea did. It's just the same thing.
Absolutely. So you could either get a green unit. You're probably thinking on personal guard now, are you, or are you thinking of something else?
Yeah, I think either like the scouting party get one, or personal guard and do what you say and just kind of rejig a little bit.
It's really up to you what you wanted to buy.
See, the thing is like, in a way, Marcia is not super concerned about defending herself as a personage in this hall, but it's still really important to defend the hall. Because if that's gone, then everything's gone anyway. And it's not super defended beyond what units we have, and we know the units we have are spread pretty thin right now as well. So I think a personal guard would be useful because it would also free up the devoted and the scouts that we have hanging up around the house to go and actually do their jobs.
Sure. So a green personal guard will cost 7 population points, or a trained personal guard unit will cost you 9, which you could afford, and you'd still keep the modifier.
Yeah, I think let's go train personal guard, because we don't know how many times we're going to get to do this in the game anyway.
Sure.
So this is the time to go big or go home, and I'm going to sit at home on my nice throne, very comfortable with a personal guard.
Cool. All right. And then we're going to add 9 to the old power. Oh, pardon me. You still had you had a little leftover.
Oh yeah, we had like
point,
2 points, right?
Yeah.
1 point in wealth, and then a couple of points in power, I think. Wait, let's check that again.
Yeah, so 6, 5 is 11, 16, 19. Hang on, no, that just balls that up. There's a 5 in there somewhere as well. So that's 10.
10. That's 19 on there, but that doesn't seem right.
It's because I've just added the 9 to the power.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so you have a spare point.
That is a fair point.
So if you actually took 8 and then added that to PowerPoint.
Because how much is it going to cost to train our West unit, which is the green garrison, right?
If you wanted to just train them up, that would cost you just another 2 resources.
Okay. So as it stands, personal guard we said was 9. I had 10, correct?
10 what, sorry?
10 points to spend. If we move 9 from population and take the one that already stands in power.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
6, 5, 11, 16, 19.
Yeah, and you started with 20 power.
Right. So we had 1. Okay. So it's kind of still too expensive to train them up because we still need an extra point. 1 point down from what we need.
Yeah.
Bad times. Bad times. We can do it next time. Let's wait for everyone to chat. And we need to organize a breeding program.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think so. I just can't narratively convince myself there's any way to increase our population right now.
Mm.
And Marzia is definitely in kind of defensive mode, sort of.
The exchange would be power. So reducing your army.
Mm-hmm. No.
That's fair. Coolio. Well, there's a tiny little box underneath this here, which I will invite you to write a little thing about what happens this month, what the action's about, and I'll add the personal guard to this as well. We need a name for the personal guard too.
We do. Maybe chat can come up with some ideas while I quickly write the summation of what happens. So, following Lady Marzia's spring feast, there is a call to arms. Call for I can type. Devoted men and women to join up. And the trained members of the, I guess, household. What would it be called? Retinue?
Yeah.
Are shifted into a new personal guard known as. I can't remember how to make it all compress so it's all in there nicely for you guys to read.
Wrap text.
Oh, of course.
It's alright.
How often I use Excel. Fox Guard. Quite cool.
Ooh.
The Verdant. Also a good idea.
Fox Guard. Fox Guard will remind me a bit of the Florence, though, with their foxy face. Mm-hmm. The angels.
Ooh,
the Avengers.
No. Ooh, this is a tough one.
It is. It
My
is.
brain was like the beloved, and I'm like, nope, that's not a territory I want to step into. Step away from that territory.
Yeah.
The remembered. It's not bad.
Mm. Yeah.
Maybe this is a good opportunity to have a quick look at our history, which some of chat may not know about, because
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about it on stream. So I'm actually going to read what we wrote during our session 0. So we went through, I think, 6 or 7 very similar phases to this, where we rolled to see our house fortunes, and the house fortune dictated that part of our story. Our story began with the first men. I think that's what the age was called, which is when, what's his face, the Green, came over. I forget what's his name, Gardner the Green or something.
Yeah. Greenhand. Garth Greenhand.
Garth Greenhand, that's the dude. And we were actually raised up by Garth's favorite, smartest daughter, Floris the Fox, a woman with 3 husbands who managed to keep that secret from all of them. And we helped her in that. So our house was raised up by Floris the Fox. Our founders were her collaborators and kept her secret safe at all costs. However, our matron, Danielle the Devoted, had a secret affair with Floris. Their love was real for both of them, not a part of their greater schemes for power, and their relationship is the true reason why Floris raised the family up. So that was our first age. Our next age, what's the house creation worksheet? Let me see what it was. So the next age is the Age of Heroes. So this is when Bran the Builder is busy making Winterfell, and all of that fun stuff is going on. And we also got a favor for the stage. The first stage we got a favor, second age we got a favor. During the long night, our house was instrumental in delivering information amongst various factions. We utilized our contacts and physical assets, such as actual tunnels, and made ourselves invaluable. As a consequence of this, a member of our house became the Spy Master. And this is when we begin to see our house's kind of prevalence for liking to play both sides and wheel and deal in the background of events. Bringing us on to the Andal invasion. The first of many, many invasions that happen in Westeros. This part of history anyway. And this is an age in which we rolled a decline, as the Andal hordes made their way to the Reach, and as the fortunes of our house grew thin, we acted against the invaders in every capacity our cunning could carry us, reaching out to the Green Seers and the Wood Witches for aid. However, our shadowy efforts proved insufficient, and we eventually converted to the faith of the Seven, well, at least in the daylight. Come nightfall, you could still find our banner hanging from the weirwood tree in the Godswood. So we did fall to the Andals, but we have a small hint of rebellion still in the background, and that's why our good Godswood is nice and secret, and only the family know about it. The next age that we came to is the Rhoynar migration. So Queen Nymeria came across from Essos and rallied and married the Martells, right, Sam?
Yeah.
And the Martells became the Kings of Dawn, and all of that stuff was coming through. And this is an era of conquest for us. So through annexation, subterfuge, and fuckery, we ally and gain lands and wealth. Our population doesn't grow rapidly, and an unease settles in amongst our people. Our defenses are slightly weakened as we spread ourselves across the divide within Dawn. So basically, we kind of took over some Dornish land, and we're like, we'll look after you. But there's a lot of unrest, and it's not necessarily the best time. We did see an increase in lands during that time, but we had a massive -5 to population, so probably to do with fighting and dealing with the rebellions. We also lost some to defense, so that's kind of reflected in that summary. The next stage for us was Aegon's conquest. So this is the Targaryens coming over from Valyria and causing all sorts of trouble. We were the first house in the Reach to support the Targaryen invasion, able to claim that we never raised arms against Aegon's armies. Shortly after we declared for Aegon, House Tyrell also sided with the Targaryens. This is the beginning of us really not liking House Tyrell. So if you're wondering where that come from, this is that moment. Because House Tyrell was larger and more influential than our house was, they were made stewards of the South. This created great resentment towards House Tyrell for usurping our gains, though we did benefit greatly under Aegon's rules. That resentment would eventually become a full-on blood feud. So fuck the Tyrells. The next age is the Dance of Dragons, and we near the Blackfyre Rebellion, which is the final age that we'll do. So during the Dance of Dragons, it's a second infrastructure age. During the feuds between the Blacks and the Greens, that's the dragons, not the Green Months and the Black Months, our position was further fortified by a relative neutrality. However, as the weakness of the Targaryens began to show, perhaps a glimmer of opportunity was seen in the fires of war. During this time, we kind of held back. We played a little bit on both sides. We were mostly focused on ourselves, and we saw a boon in our population and a boon in our defense. So we kind of stabilized, rallied up, stocked up, and just waited it out. The final age is the Blackfyre Rebellion, which was always going to be a bad time for us, because Sam warned us when we started this campaign, we chose the wrong side. So in an echo to that Aegon's conquest era, House Greenmont were the first house in the Reach to support Daemon Blackfyre's rebellion. In a shrewd political move to usurp House Tyrell's power in the region, sorry, I can't read, we joined the efforts. House Ironwood of Dawn declared soon after. House Greenmont used its considerable wealth to supply the Blackfyre armies with food, wine, and weapons. Greenmont's skilled archers and infamous elite troop, the Devoted, played a major part in the early battles. However, the Battle of Redgrass Field devastated the experienced generation of Greenmont's soldiers. Lan Greenmont was killed in battle. Ryland Greenmont was captured and executed after refusing to be exiled to the Wall. And both Lord Lucas and Sir Oliver Ironwood were badly injured. Since the rebellion, Sir Oliver has taken the role of Master of Arms, training the Green Guard and the Devoted to fight in a hybrid of Reach and Dornish styles. So that was pretty rough.
Yeah. And
now we're cursed.
Determined. And now cursed. But we have two awesome ideas for names. Okay. So I suggested the Heart Guard.
Ooh,
which people quite liked. Susie quite liked that one. But then, where is it? World build. Hollow Hearts. I really quite liked.
I like that. All right, the Hollow Hearts it is.
All right. There we go.
I like that. It's cool.
Population is low now, though.
It is real low. Which in my head with the whole curse thing kind of makes sense because we've got raiders coming in and murdering people. We've got a plague going on. Marcia's doing her best, but she is but one woman with no anti-bac. So
single woman with no anti-bac.
And we know from our meta discussion that Alfred is going to try and stop people with plague coming to the house because he's trying to keep them away from Marcia, who has serious Florence Nightingale syndrome. She just can't help herself. So yeah, I think that's reflected in that, but I think also it reflects people shifting to join and take up arms and help protect this house and the lands and stand up to people coming and stealing stuff.
Yeah, and that reflection of population in the scores is really the population you have to hand that are doing like growing stuff and husbandry and stuff like that. So the amount of people you've actually got is a combination of power and population, really.
Yeah, so we are unfortunately losing out on our farmers, which is not necessarily good because we will get hungry should winter show up.
We are in spring though, that's not too bad.
We are in spring.
Right, so Tom's asking how much it would cost to build an infirmary. So I'm just going to find that in the prosperity PDF. What we got? These are lifestyle holdings, estate holdings. There is a healing center, I'm sure. somewhere around here. Healing site. Yeah.
Ooh.
So there's settlement holdings, which I think are more towards the end. Set up here, military academy.
Is this like a leper colony?
Yeah. Be it a spring, healing stone, or holy relic, your house has some item of interest that draws travellers far and wide to benefit from its healing power. Whether there is any actual healing power to be had is up for debate, but the coins brought by the hopefuls are quite real.
That's interesting.
+1 to house fortune rolls, +1 to population and wealth. Actual healing artifact is +5 wealth. A healing artifact does actually have properties. Any who touch it gain +1b to endurance for natural healing checks for the next month. So,
Very
not quite.
Unfortunately, until we make some more money.
Yeah, not quite an infirmary either, which is the thing.
No.
I always do this, right? So there's always these little rules I always forget. I just want to check it with you. So these holdings, I want to check whether. Just double check whether there's anything in them that means that you have a reduction in how much like damage those resources took with the curse.
Mm-hmm.
Iron mine, I don't think so. That's more. It just increased the house fortune rolls, but let's double check that iron.
Because the benefit from our artisan is that means that we have cast forged steel swords, which increases the damage done by any of our units. So that's the benefit of that we've chosen. Because there are a number of different benefits to the artisan, and that was the one that we chose.
So,
which was very useful when we were fighting Dornish raiders.
Yeah. So you guys got a valuable mine, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I was fortune rolls +2, which is what you have there. Yeah. Oh, and you got a smelter as well.
Yes.
So they both get resource gain bonuses. So they don't.
Yeah, if we had gained a resource, then it would have improved.
Yeah, exactly. Weaponsmith. Oh god, I just messed that up.
I was really hoping we were going to get a fortune increase so that we could be pumping out some swords to sell.
Yeah. Resource gain bonus was +1 wealth. Reduce the cost of goods based on the artisan by 10%. So weapons and armor cost 10% less. House fortune roll bonus +1, which is reflected in there already. Yeah. So no absorption for the damage from those. So that's all fine. So then, there's not much else to do for House Greenmont, I don't think. We've got the summary there. We've got the resource management. Let's plug that in there. Cool. All right. So we can keep doing this like month by month, basically. And then
we don't have to do another event for a while. Just take actions because
you don't have to roll for a while. Yeah. You got 2 more rolls, but 2 more months basically. They're kind of free. You don't have to do any more rolls. All right. Well, that's that basically.
And who knows if I will be head of the house next time we have to make one of these rolls. There's a lot of scheming going on.
Yeah. So let me adjust those. So it's 11 population now and 28 power. 11.
Oh, for anyone wondering, we all recently got 10 XP from our exploits in game, and Marcia did spend hers to get a stewardship dice.
Yeah.
As she's slowly learning to become a lady of the house.
So Charlie, you can't see this, but I've got my big spreadsheet of all the houses up. You might cheekily look at it in a stream.
I'm not gonna look.
No, that's fine. I've got it up, and everyone's looking. So I mean, in terms of influence, I've rated them by influence. Like, you've still got. Did I influence? Yeah. You're about halfway down. You are 1 point more influential than the Oak Hearts, though.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting information.
Yeah. Hopefully
but the Oak Hearts have a slightly better geographical position.
Yeah, not too bad. So there are 2 houses I haven't done yet. and I wondered if
Okay.
you wanted to hang out. Like
Yeah,
totally. If not, I wondered if you want to hang out and roll those for me.
I'm down to hang out,
All
definitely.
right, cool. So we'll do a bit of this. I won't
I'm
stay.
sorry, House, if I roll better for them.
Won't stay too late. All right. So I need some stats for
Okay.
House Rowan of Golden Grove. Let's just see what. Here, buy some
Did you look
fire.
up the Manwoodies yet?
No, I
And the
haven't.
Fowlers?
No,
They're nearby Dornish neighbours. They're very
I'm looking at
interesting.
Rowan. Rowan is a spear wife. No, I didn't want that. House Rowan. There we go. Of Golden Grove. Oh my! The house emblem is a big golden tree on a
Shocking,
white
no one.
on a white field.
On a white field.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not the worst. Not mad about it.
No, all right. It's good to check out the history though, because then I'll tailor the historical events to what it has
Yeah.
here in canon as well. But your bit for me, if you could roll 7d6 for me
Sure can.
for defense.
29.
Let me get the little chart of modifiers up. For the reach, -5, so
24.
24. Defense, so that'll give them a keep or a haul at least. Influence then, same again.
19.
+10 for 29.
29.
Lands.
23.
Cool, that's straight 23. Law is going to be at -5.
26.
Is that what you rolled, or with it?
That's what I rolled.
Okay, so 21 from that. Population.
29.
Oh, I'm going to add 5 to that. 34.
Oof.
They're quite populous. One of the
Yeah.
one of the larger ones. What are we on? Power. This is the important one.
21.
They don't get a modifier, so 21. And wealth.
28.
+5.
I
33.
need to like zoom in. My font is really tiny on this thing.
You said 28, didn't you?
Oh, that's better. Yes,
Yeah,
28.
I'm 33, so I'm not going crazy. All right, cool.
I was apparently zoomed out to like 60%, so I'm like,
What? What are you doing?
tiny little numbers.
All right, so I'm going to do. Well, let's try and figure out either their founding or their thing. So one of the more prominent and old families from the Reach. Its dominions extended along its northern borders. This may mean that the Rowans were made Marshal of the North March to replace the declining House Osprey, now their bannerman. Their blazon is a golden tree on silver. Their words are not mentioned. The Rowans can trace their descent from the legendary Garth Greenhand through his daughter, Rowan Goldtree. Rowan Goldtree is the legendary daughter of Garth Greenhand. According to legend, she was so bereft when her love left her for a rich rival that she wrapped an apple in her golden hair and planted it upon a hill. From the apple grew a tree whose bark, leaves, and fruit were yellow gold. House Rowan traces its roots to Rowan's daughters. In some tales of the Reach, Lan the Cleaver was a bastard born to Rowan and her sister, Floris the Fox. Ooh. Little historical tie in there.
Little friend.
Little friend. I've got to figure out a historical event for this now, I guess. Ascent.
Yeah?
Could be ascent. Favor. Decline. Treachery. Ooh, treachery.
Treachery.
It was treachery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her lover left her.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
A rich rival.
Okay, so roll a d6 for me. We're going to take that away from influence.
Okay. 1d6. 1.
Okay. We're going to take 1d6 away from law.
6.
No way!
Mm-hmm.
It's not very lawful around the North Marches.
No, there's getting some rebels and riots up in there.
Yeah. They're not quite the worst, though. The red wines are apparently the worst. But we're going to add plus 1d6 to power, so...
4.
All right.
Nice and in the middle.
Nice and 25. That's all right. Cool. All right. And then I'm gonna add an what's it? Infrastructure one. So I get to roll. We're gonna roll 2d6. We're gonna add them to certain abilities. So I'm gonna add to law. I think it's needed. So roll me a d6.
Oh, sorry, that was 2. Let me correct that. 1 to 6. 5.
Okay. So we get back to 20. That's good. And then I'm gonna add to defense and hope that we get a 6.
5.
Oh.
But it's close, alright? I tried real hard.
29. Just on that little
so
sweet
close.
spot. I know. Oh well. All right.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. So that's them. I reckon, seeing as that they, it seems as though they were made Marshal of the North March to replace Declining House Osprey. And if you know, in chat, if you know the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms stories with Dunk and Egg, House Osprey are this declining house because they did what the Greenmonts did and they backed the wrong side in the first Blackfire Rebellion. So I reckon, let's actually chuck them a favour. And I'll have them side in my little table with the Targaryens specifically. Alright. So let's add 1d6 to influence.
3.
Alright, that's not too bad. So that's 31. And then let's add 1d6 to lands.
5.
That's not bad. 28. There we go. Let's add 1d6 to law as well.
4.
That's good. That's good. Just getting there. And then power. Let's add 1d6 to that.
2.
Alright. So 27 power there. So they're pretty good on power. They're not great, they're amazing, but they're good. Alright.
Well,
cool.
they're probably like their power issue is all that lawlessness is probably like dividing their troops and taking a lot of people that should be fighting for them.
Yeah.
And just causing problems.
Let's make their goal improve law. And then motivation could be
stabilize the north, right?
Yeah, exactly. So security. Cool. And it was my intention as well to like use these motivations and stuff for you guys when you kind of approach a house. I've got something to hook it onto.
Yeah.
So like you can find out what they're about, what they're up to, and then hopefully give them what they want in return for something. But we have your neighbours, House Tarly, to do as well.
Ooh, I just invited them and they didn't show up. Too busy at some wedding up north.
Some wedding that they didn't need to go to.
Some tournament with some knight in it.
Whatevs. I think that changes the influence ranking. Yep. So they are... where did they go? Okay, so... Oh, Rowans, they're not too far up the influence tracker. Below you. With 31. Alrighty. House Tarly time.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like kind of hopeful about the Tarlys. As our nearest kind of reach a neighbor. So, 76s?
76 for defense.
24.
That's good. Oh, don't write it in chat, Sam.
And that was affected, right? Because we're in the reach. Gets dropped by 5, I think.
Good memory. I've got that page open. Oh, come on, Sam, where are you? -5, yeah. So actually 19 there. Right, I'll be improving that because they've got to have a keep at least. Influence?
25. That improves, correct?
By 10.
Yep.
Oh. The Tarlys are on par with you.
They are. 18 for the next.
That's a straight 18. And then law.
33. Tarly's got it on lockdown.
-5.
That's still high. That's still
That is
28.
That is one of the highest. It's literally one of the highest laws. Population.
26.
Alright, we're going to add 5 to that. 31. That's a good one, that. Population. Power.
Damn, tallies. 21. Not very good.
Okay. Wealth.
24.
Right, 29. Alrighty. So let's have a look at the tallies. This is going to be one of those entries on the... is it with just with a Y? Yeah, it is. It's going to be a good full entry on the wiki, I think. Alright, House Tarly is a noble house of the Reach, one of the strongest sworn to House Tyrell. Got to up that defense. No, the power. Sorry, a little bit. Horn Hill is located in the foothills of the Red Mountains. Their sigil is a striding huntsman on green. Their motto has not been revealed, but semi-canon sources say it is first in battle.
Okay, so I have a proposition for you. What if we were to swap, because you said their power should be higher, right?
Yep.
So why don't we move the highest score that I rolled to that? Because it's still a randomly rolled number.
Yeah, could totally do that. So we're going to go 35 replace with the 21, and then 21 for influence. Oh no. There we go.
Just because it matches the fiction better.
Sure. You're more accommodating than I am on the random rolls, so I'm usually like, no, I rolled the thing. I did not cheat. That's cool. Right, so Marcher Lords of the Dawnage March.
It would be cheating if it was our house, but
yeah,
it's not.
The Tarleys are a family old in honor, with rich lands and a strong keep. They're also keepers of Valerian greatsword called Heartsbane. Cheeky little Valerian steel sword.
Can I have a Heartsbane for my heart, the hollow people?
Hollow
please?
hearts. Yeah. Try and nick it. Okay, history.
I could marry a Tarly. I could get it as a wedding present. You don't know.
Yeah. Why does it not? Why does it not
It was
say
a tradition of giving swords in the first house I married into. I hope to carry that forwards.
All right. Herndon the Horn and Harlan the Hunter are the founders of this house.
Ooh.
Herndon is a legendary son of Garth Greenhand, an ancestor of House Tully. He's a sworn twin brother. Not sworn. He is a twin brother. Harlan the Hunter built their castle atop Horn Hill and took to wife the beautiful woods witch who dwelled there, sharing her favours for 100 years. The brothers did not age so long as they had intercourse with her whenever the moon was full.
I don't know whether to be like impressed with her or horrified for her, but I support her either way. She sounds terrifying.
Good on her. I mean, sure.
Right? Get in there, my girl.
Right. There is an amazing historical event which can go really well or really badly, called Madness, which I think we should roll for this for the house founding.
I love that idea.
All right. We are gonna...
Also, I'm super excited now I know there's a Wiz Witch involved with Tarleys, because Marcia has Wiz Witch ideas going on, so...
Yeah, alright. So, we're gonna take away... I don't know how to do this in Roll20, so we're just going to try and figure it out. Okay. So, we're going to roll 2d6 for each one of these things, and we're going to take that away, but we're going to add 6 as the modifier.
So just 2d6 plus 6?
No. So, well...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 6 minus 2d6. That's probably what it is. So you take away the 2d6.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if that works, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, nice. What do we get?
6 minus a 1 and a 2 equals a 3. Yep, maths works.
So we're taking 3 from defense, right?
We are.
Yeesh.
Well, no, adding 3.
Oh, nice.
Adding 3.
What was that? 19. So 22. Same again for influence. This is every single one. So same again for influence.
1. Adding 1.
Cool. Lands.
Deducting 1.
Ooh. All right. Law.
Adding 3.
Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah. Population.
Minusing 3.
Ooh. Down to 28. Power.
Adding 1.
Ooh, 36. Cheeky. Wealth.
Minusing 4.
Ooh. Down to 25 wealth.
They took a hit.
They did take a hit. But that was cool little madness jobby going on. All right.
Yeah.
And in the Hunter, that's all there. So House Tarly. History. During the reign of Aenus...
Sorry, what?
Aenus Enos. I don't know. Fucking Targaryen names.
Anus. Mm-hmm.
Enos.
Anise.
Aenys the First.
Anise best.
Savage Sam Tarly was among the March Lords who participated in the Vulture Hunt. The Vulture Hunt, let's have a look, was a campaign against the first Vulture King and his followers at the end of the Second Dornish
We
War.
don't speak that name here, Sam.
After the Vulture King's lines shattered, his army was broken and his host fled. The hunt for these fleeing rebels became known as the Vulture Hunt. The Vulture King himself was captured alive and tied naked between two posts where he was left to die. He eventually died of thirst and exposure, although the singers like to claim the rebel king was torn to pieces by the vultures from whom he had taken his name.
Sounds both to me. King lost us.
To show his gratitude for their services, King arsehole rewarded Davos Baratheon, Lord Samwell Tarly, Lady Ellen Caron, and Lord Harmon Dondarrion with gold, offices, and honours.
Is that when we first see the Dondarrions raised up as the Storm Kings? Storm Lords?
I think Dondarrions have been around for a while.
I know they've been around for a while, but I didn't know the Ascension. I know when they fall.
Yeah. So I think let's have a look at what favour is. Gained favour with the king, their lord Faith. As a result, their fortunes improved, climbing into... Yeah, this is perfect. So we're going to add a few d6s. We're going to add 1d6 to influence.
Okay. One.
All right. And we're going to add 1d6 to lands as well.
One.
And law.
Two.
Wow. And power.
5.
Oh, they got 41 power.
They've got an army.
They do have an army.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Where does the king keep his armies?
Up his sleeveys. There you go.
It's my favorite joke of all time.
Wow. Okay, so possibly last historical event. During the son of Lord Tarly unsuccessfully courted Rhaenyra Targaryen before she wed Laenor Valerian. Lord Alan Tarly declared for Rhaenyra and the Blacks during the Dance of the Dragons. How do you think they were affected there? I mean, both the Dance of the Dragons. I'm trying to think of the conclusion of that.
The Greens won.
The Greens one.
Pretty sure.
No.
Let's check that. Maybe they didn't.
Well, so death to both claimants,
Mm.
Aegon II and Rhaenyra, and Aegon III's ascension to the throne.
With Rhaenyra, so Rhaenyra shunned the house. I was like, gonna marry someone else.
Mm.
And then this war plays out, and she dies. And the other Targaryen dies. Maybe they were like, I'm staying out of this. And they have a period of like infrastructure where they're just gonna haul up and have to come up with a plan B because they're not gonna get to marry a Targaryen.
Yeah.
We could roll for it.
Oh yeah, we could roll 3.
Because it could go any which way, so
Yeah, roll 3d6.
9.
Treachery, which fits quite nicely.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take 1d6 from influence.
Okay. 1d6. 2.
So that's gone down to 21. We're going to take 1d6 from law.
2.
That's nice. It's only down to 31. And we're going to add 1d6 to power.
5.
They have the biggest army in right now. This is mad. All right, that's awesome. Cool. Well, that's the Tarleys then. What What goal do you think they could have?
Ooh. Maybe they remember a time when they were like really instrumental in a lot of things. They were really important. They were going to wear the Targaryen at one point in their minds.
Yeah.
They were right up there, and now their influence is pretty low. But they've got this huge army, and we're in a time of peace, so it's kind of like we need to do something to improve our power. We've got this army; it's not doing anything, but we also don't really matter that much. We have like this low influence.
Yeah.
So I think they want to improve their positions. They want to rise again. And this is a great time for them. They got a great big army. So if there's another rebellion, they just send the army. Go, Damon. No, Daeron. That one. Daeron, buddy, pal. Got an army for you.
Yeah. So I want to I think world build's got to like marry well or marry up, because that as a goal gives me something concrete to work with, and it should be really cool as well to do. Cool. All right. Well, that's all the houses rolled.
The interesting thing about the Tarleys is we know from Samwell that his father is this bitter and twisted man who doesn't get anything he wants 100 years down the line from now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they are literally at the bottom of the influence pile as well. They've almost been forgotten amongst the lords. Like, they have this incredible army, and they probably...
We've got a castle on a hill. We've got an army. Hello. It's because they're so far south. They're just like out of the way.
Yeah. And they fought for the Blackfires. Well, that's not canonical. I chose that because they're Marcher Lords, but as they had this massive army, maybe they fought for the Targaryens. Because I think if they'd fought for the Blackfires, their army wouldn't be as strong right now.
What if they declared for the Blackfires? So they get that influence drop because they declared for the wrong side. But when it came down to the Battle of Redgrass, they just didn't show up. Yeah. They're like, we'll stay at home. And they're busy writing notes like, dear Mr. Daeron, you know what? I'm on your side, boo.
We were bad.
We got an army. We'll guard you from the Dawns, who, if they cause trouble. We'll be here if the Blackfire Rebellion and the bastards kick off again. Don't forget about us.
Yeah.
Love Tarleys. And then Daeron's like, cool. Shoves it on a spike and forgets about that note.
Yeah. I like World Build's thing in chat about how they're probably like a small, they're not a big, expansive army. They're still a regular sized army, but they're just very well trained, very well disciplined. So these are the guys that you want on your side.
These are kind of like when you see the army being trained at the wall. This is like back when this was a hardcore training facility. And that also kind of explains in my head why Samwell's father is so disappointed in him that he can't do anything. Because in his head, he's remembering the glory days when the Tarleys were this military training academy.
Yeah.
And he's just got this lardy son who can't do shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. All right. So one thing I'll try and do if I can get round to it. I don't necessarily have to do it for this week for the session that we've got coming up. But I want to do a prep session with all the house actions figured out for people. So I know roughly what people are doing if it influences the story, and then a little bit of detail about what they're going to do. So that was my plan. Cool. Well, that about wraps things up. So let's just summarize again. So where are we now? So we've got some personal guard. Moved some people over to power.
Well, we moved some people, and then we also lost some people due to that cursed thing. And what else did we lose during the cursed thing? Something else. Law, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. Cool. Yeah, so the raids have hit you, or will hit you a little harder, I imagine, as you try and fight through them and find out what's going on. You got any thoughts on that in terms of what your next kind of moves are?
Well, I know that Marcia is pretty convinced within her own head that those raiders were mercenaries. Like, she kind of believes the Vulture story to some degree, but she doesn't know enough about it, and she still needs to really investigate that. But she's also suspicious that how the fuck do you confuse Greenmont and Blackmont? Like, it's just... You can be stupid, but that's pretty stupid. So she has big question marks about her neighbors Especially since they know she's there on her own. It was just really interesting how it was like exactly that timing when the Lord is out of the house, so Oliver is out of the house, so they know this is like a bad time, and like raiders just conveniently show up.
Yeah.
So she's in a point where she really wants to get some friends because she does feel very alone on this mountain. With a lack of Greenmont allies really being shored up and everything going on far north in court. So her very immediate problem is like right here, right now, is great. You guys can go and haggle and do your business down at court, but if there's no house for you to come back to, what are you gonna do? So I think that's why she's got the army improvements that she's gone for.
Yeah.
But yeah, she definitely wants allies, and it doesn't matter if they're not hugely influential allies. It's just you need friends. Just otherwise, you just get wiped out. Blackmont or whomever turns around and says, "I want that house." No one's gonna give a shit, and they're just gonna let them take it.
Yeah.
And especially that's why she's interested in her neighbors on both sides of the border.
Yeah.
And it's figuring out, are you my friend? Are you not my friend? Can I make you my friend?
Cool.
Not necessarily to use them, but just to not be on her own.
Yeah.
And to have something for this house to still exist for.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it is saying like get the Tarleys on side for that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know this one, but I did in canon send out an invitation to the Tarleys because they were my nearest neighbors.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the stay at that house. So
I'll have a look and I'll find out who your neighbors are.
So
I'll
the
put them on the map
Fowlers used
too.
to be kings.
Wow.
Back in the day. They're big friends with the Martells and the Blackmonts, from what I was reading. But the Manwoody's are more like on the fence.
Okay.
Things.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll pop them on the map for you.
Yeah, that's what Marcia's at. She's just like digging in at this point and trying to get the house stabilized. Hopefully, maybe up production on those swords so we have something to negotiate with.
Yeah.
Should we need to make negotiations? Because right now, our children are all away or called for. She can't marry someone else right now, so we can't offer a wedding. So we've got to offer something like steel, like money. So that's Marcia's thinking.
Cool.
Greenmont swords.
Yeah. Greenmont swords for Tarly blood.
That sounds like a threat. But I mean, the other thing that I'm interested in is seeing the connection between Marcia and her previous house, House Crane.
Yeah.
Down Reach. So have a look at that maybe sometime.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait. So we got our session as usual this Thursday, 9 p.m. UK time or 4 p.m. Eastern.
The champion returns.
Champion returns this week. That is Don, obviously, as Soroliver comes back to Fox Hollow. You're helping me out as a supporting character for this one, just taking more of a little bit of a background or kind of like a back seat, but still there, with Tom as Sir Alfred as well.
Yep.
And then we've also got, because Susie's away the week after and stuff, so I wanted to get some more of her side of things done. So Susie will be there too.
And we just had the escape of the bastard.
Yeah.
So.
Nervous, excited. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Charlie, to do this.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me, and this has been really fun.
Yeah.
This is a really good insight for what it's like to roll up a house. I think the bundle of holding just finished again, but if not, go and double check because they just re-released their Song of Ice and Fire pack.
It was.
And it was only 4 days.
Yeah, but I think it was ending today. So if it's still on, go get it.
So that's like $15 for the basic one, $25 for the really big one. Well worth it.
So
really
worth it. All right, folks. Hopefully we'll see you Thursday. Thank you very much for all the comments in chat and all the names and cool stuff. And we'll see you Thursday. Bye.